How's it going, everybody? This is Alonzo Cantu with Bad First Impressions, Episode 4, the only podcast in San Antonio hosted by a stand up comedian. That's right, you're listening to the only one. I know, I think the last one I put out was almost a month ago now, and the one before that was like 2 weeks. So I'm going to try to actually get to the whole, you know, once a week thing eventually, but I've been real busy, man. I've been, trying to get this new job. I'm trying to go to these temp agencies because I thought that would be kind of a good thing when you're trying to do the stand up comedy. You know, have a job, a temp job, which means a temporary job. That's what temp is short for. And when you get one of these temp agency jobs, some agencies they just give you the work. You know, some of them I think have a list. The one that I was at, I think it's called Upshift. They have an app. You know, so first you have to go to the onboarding session, which is really you just sit down in a room and they explain how to download the app pretty much. And yeah, so I went through that whole thing, and then you have all the jobs listed on the app, and it tells you how many hours you can do and how many dollars you get paid for the hours that you do. And I tried to do one of the jobs. Shit, dude, I'm getting into the uhs and was again. It's all good though. This is just the first 5 minute jitters, y'all. This is why you gotta do a podcast more often than once a fucking month, because it's like doing stand up. You know, you get rusty. You get the old rustaroos on you. That's why I started to call them the rustaroos. You don't know if I call them that or not. You don't know shit about me. I could have a lot of stupid names for a lot of regular things that have regular words for them. I could be living in a whole Telletubbie kind of fucking situation over here, y'all. Very Dr. Seussian world that I live in. I think the highways are fucking Dr. Seussian in San Antonio. I always think that, even when I'm sober, almost more when I'm sober, when I'm looking at the way that the roads are all high and curving around, and just seems like a real Dr. Seuss way of transportation in San Antonio, the roads. The tall-ass highways, spinning around, going in circles. Gas is $4.19 today. What's today? Today's, shit. Today's May 16th. Went to go put $20 in the 1998 Nissan Cobra. Well, it's not the Cobra, it's a Nissan Maxima, but I call it the Cobra. I don't know why. I wanted to have a cool name for it, and Cobra just popped in my head. Sometimes when I'm like going through the parking lot, I kind of swaying back and forth like the Cobra. Not because I'm drunk, it's because I'm a Cobra. Gas is $4.19, which is fucking stupid because it's high, but it could have at least been $4.20, and then we'd have that joke. But that's how you know they're trying to demoralize us. They won't even give us the $4.20 gas, so we can go, man, look, gas is high, and then I could post it on Facebook for likes or Instagram for likes, and then I could be famous and popular. But no, they took it away from me. All it cost was 1 cent for my future in comedy, because that would have been the starting off point. That meme, and then the next meme, and then people find out the podcast. They wait a couple months for each episode because it's that damn good, guys. I mean, ladies, we all know, theys and thems, we can all get under the banner that this is the best damn podcast going. The one and only podcast in San Antonio hosted by a comedian, possibly Texas. I haven't really looked into it, but I'm positive it's the only one in San Antonio hosted by a stand-up comedian. And I hope no one else tries to steal my idea, because I'll fuck them up, dude. I don't know if you guys heard the last episode, but I was going to go to this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. You guys should definitely check out the last episode, because it'll catch you up on this episode. It explains all the backstory and lore, but mostly it just explains that I was going to go to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place because they had an ad that said free 30-day transformation. And I was like, all right, I got to kind of figure out what this whole scam is. I don't know why. Well, because I don't have a lot of things to do all the time. I have a lot of free time, then I have to do a lot of stuff later on, but I got a lot of free time, so I like to travel down these roads and follow my fancies when the mood strikes, hoping, oh, maybe there's some material there. But I went to the place. It's called Shark Team, I think, is what it's called. But I know the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, that's what his team was. It was called Shark Team or Team Shark or whatever. Long story short, there was this Middle Eastern dude there. I think he's Middle Eastern. I don't know. But he was really giving me a lot of my buddy. Oh, my buddy talk. And it was like a hard sell situation. Because I'm trying to figure out, how much is it going to cost a month so I can, pay that. But he's like, oh, buddy, listen to the offer. Listen to the offer, buddy. And I'm like, all right, I'll let you listen to your offer. It's a good offer, buddy. It's a good offer. So let me explain. And then he goes on to kind of explain that I give him money now. And then after 30 days, if I meet the conditions of the contract that I sign, which are that I lose 20 pounds or some amount of body fat, I forget what the exact percentage was. If I do both of those things, the money that I give him, the previous 30 days before I did the 30-day challenge, that money doesn't go back to me. Of course not. No. What it does is it goes into more training to the class. So I get, like, I guess a month free. But I don't, because I just paid for the month. It makes no sense. But I was like, I was telling the dude, I was like, hey, man, I'm going to be honest with you. That whole free thing, I kind of assumed it was free. I don't have enough money to give you today to even put down. And he's like, well, how much money do you have today, buddy? How much money do you got? You can put anything down. We'll figure it out. And I was like, it's all, that's fine. Well, here's the funny part. Well, I guess the funny part to me, because this really isn't an interesting story. Well, I guess the interesting story is if you see that ad, 30-day free transformation, I'm sure you already knew that it was bunk, but now you know why it's bunk. But the fucked up part was, or the part that kind of tickled me, was during the whole sale thing, before he got into the pricing and all that stuff, he asked why I wanted to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, And I gave him this, I gave him the answer, like, I just feel like the confidence would be better. Sometimes I don't know if some of the decisions I make are because I'm worried, even though I'm not, like, right away worried. Maybe I'm just, confrontation. Maybe I am not as comfortable with confrontation as I want to be. Like there's some kind of subliminal thing in me that's worried that if a situation gets to that level, that I'm not going to be able to handle myself. And I wonder if I could tear down that subliminal wall, what my actions would be. Like, maybe it would help with motivation in other areas. I don't know. That's me. And I explained, like, I'd gotten beat up, so, a couple times before and stuff. He's like, oh man, that sucks. See, yeah, getting beaten up, that sucks, right? You get hurt, at your age, you could die, man. You could fucking die if you get beaten up and shit. And so that's how he began it, right? And see, the reason he did that is he tried to, like, psychologically take me back to when that happened, But I got, like, PTSD, so and seeing before that happened, I've always, now he doesn't need to try to do that, which is why it didn't. Maybe it works on some people, maybe it doesn't. Maybe he just wasn't doing it well. I don't know. But it mostly just got me angry because I was like, all right, well, you're trying to pimp talk me over here. So when I eventually told him, yeah, man, I ain't got enough money to do this, I think. But, what I did tell him, I was like, but I'd like to do this without the 30-day free trial. I'd actually like to maybe learn some of this stuff. What does it cost to regularly just pay by month? Can you tell me? And he just wouldn't tell me. He kept on trying to do this, like, down payment thing. And then when I was like, all right, I don't think this is for me. And he's like, well, man, just remember when you got beaten up, right? Just remember when you telling me you got beaten up, right? Oh man, that sucks. You know what I mean? Like, you could die if you get beaten up again. It's just, it's like your health. No, because I was like, man, I think you're being a little pushy. He's like, pushy about your health, man? I'm like, yeah, all right, that's a good point, I guess. But yeah, it wasn't necessarily the most interesting thing, or that I felt that I had the most interesting story about that. But I did talk about it in the last episode, and I wanted there to be some kind of serialization to this show. if I talk about something in the last podcast, I kind of want to talk about the follow up in the next one, at very least. All right. So I just watched The Batman, and I haven't watched a superhero movie in a minute. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there didn't watch The Batman, or maybe some of you guys were out there and you really dig superhero stuff. It's become kind of like almost a religion or politics kind of thing because man, it did nothing for me. And superhero movies haven't done anything for me for a while. I really liked the first Batman reboot, but mostly because I'm a big Christian Bale fan. This last Batman, okay, so before I saw the Batman, I'd actually gotten into watching the old original Batman with Adam West because it's all on Tubi. They like remastered everything. It's 4K, and it's really funny. It's really fun to watch when you're, kicking back and relaxing, smoking and drinking, or whatever you like to do when you relax. It's really funny. What I like about the Adam West Batman stuff is that it takes itself as serious as it should be taken, which is not at all. It's goofy as shit. The costumes are goofy. Everything about it is very goofy, very heightened, very funny. Like, very campy is the word. But it's just really good. What I like about it is they don't give a fuck about the storyline. Like, it's really just they're trying to fill time. It feels like with that show, every episode they're just kind of filling time, and then once it gets to, a lot of them are two-parters, which is even funnier when they're filling time like this because they'll fill time, and then about 5 minutes before the episode ends, they just solve the problem with some kind of I don't know if you call it a MacGuffin or whatever. I forget what they call it, but it's like, for example, they'll have a whole 2 episode build up about the Mr. Freeze and all this kind of stuff, and he's got this freeze ray gun, and Batman's about to be dead, right? 5 minutes before the end, oh, it turns out Batman took a pill before all this happened that makes him immune to freezing, and so he was just faking it the whole time, and then he gets one over on Mr. Freeze. Episode over, right? Or there's like the Joker, he's captured in the Joker, and he gets one of the Joker's minions, and the chick pulls a gun out on him, but it's 5 minutes before the show ends, so it turns out the Batmobile actually burned off the firing pin of the gun. And then Batman's doing good. He goes back to Wayne Mansion for cocktails and ass slapping with Robin, I guess. It's fucking great. I honestly suggest you watch it. I highly suggest Tubi. It's free. It has all the best shit on it. It has all these old TV shows. I was watching Dick Van Dyke on there. I'd never seen Dick Van Dyke before, and it's so funny. It's about a guy that runs a comedy show. So most of the episodes have like him in the writer's room doing jokes back and forth, and it makes sense because they're doing a writing show. This takes me to the Batman movie, and it takes me to, I guess, my point about like superhero movies become kind of like a religious thing because I don't like to talk shit about them in front of certain people. I don't even want to talk shit about it on this podcast because my first impression was to come on here and be like, man, that movie fucking sucked, But first off, not necessarily for me because, so I'm not going to come in here and start talking about, it would be like if I didn't like country music and I came in and just started talking about what I thought about, Hank Williams or something like that, or, whatever. It's when you're coming from a place and not actually appreciating the art form, I think it's like easy to shit on it and a lot harder to, I don't know, just realize that it ain't for you. But man, it not only was it not for me, I'm trying to wonder who it was for because it seemed like, well, obviously it was for kids, but I don't know, man. I don't think I've ever seen Batman that pussy before. I was asking my chick, I was like, who's the Batman? It was funny because it was an interesting thing because me and my chick watched it because I heard the good things about it. I heard that it was more like a detective Batman, kind of like how the comics first started, how he's more of a detective and less of an action dude. I thought that was really cool. I like whenever they do new things with old tropes. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why they had to be like, he's going to be a detective, but he's also going to be a pussy detective with eye makeup on. He's constantly got this like runny mascara, like he just got done with a facial abuse scene or something. It's really unsettling sometimes. And also, they made Alfred this like kind of like stocky bloke kind of dude and stuff. And it's like, well, come on, guys. We all know that Alfred is an old British guy. I didn't even mind when they made Commissioner Gordon black. That was fine. That didn't faze me at all. Some people got it. They're like, this is an outrage. I thought it didn't faze me. There was just parts of the movie that were just very. What it felt like was watching like professional wrestling, but the pacing professional wrestling makes sense because it's in front of this huge crowd, and so like when somebody gets knocked down, it makes sense like why they have to take 5 minutes to get back up because you gotta sell it for the crowd and all that kind of stuff. But in this Batman thing, he was getting knocked over, and then just like taking whatever 2 hours to get back up while somebody's like slowly pointing a gun and slowly reloading this gun. And at a certain point, you're just like, all right, I get it. It's like, it's almost like the jump scare of tension, you know? It's not natural tension. It's forced tension, and it's fucking frustrating. Like from the first scene when they introduce Batman, and he's like walking past all the cops behind Commissioner Gordon, and then right before he gets to the crime scene, some guy puts his hand on Batman, and he's like, Commissioner, you gonna let this fucking freak in here? What you gonna do? Let this fucking Batman freak up in here? It's like, wait, wouldn't you say that? Like, wouldn't somebody else say that before he even got down the hallway? Like, you see that he was walking behind Professional. Where the fuck do you think he's going? He's just gonna stand there with you, looking in, you know? No, motherfucker. I don't know. It was weird. And I think his name was Vengeance, too. So I was like, oh, is this before his name was the Batman? But then his name was the Batman. All right, I'm going to get back to watching it with my chick. So I wanted to watch it just because I thought it would be interesting. My chick didn't like superhero movies. I didn't either. But she was interested to watch it, too, just because it was free. And she's like, oh, I don't like superhero movies either. But I think I like Batman. And I'm like, yeah, same. Batman's cool. But it was funny because she didn't really know a lot about Batman. I guess she thought that Batman flew. And I had to explain, no, Batman doesn't fly. And then she was like, why doesn't he use guns? And I had to explain that is because his parents got killed. There was I had to do a lot of explaining, which made me go, damn, this movie really isn't, like, this movie's for, like, Batman fans, because if you're not even if you're just a casual Batman fan, you're not going to know a lot, I guess, because they don't explain a lot in the movie. So that was kind of weird to me. I'm like, so this is for Batman fans, but also there's just not a lot of, they make Batman a pussy. What else did they do? Riddler was fucking weird. It's like he was doing this forced crazy shit. Like he was doing this shit with his eyes, like a fucking cartoon character. Like that's what crazy people do. I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck Heath Ledger did to actors in Hollywood, but I'm glad that he set whatever retarded bar that he set. Because I mean, it was a good fucking acting role and shit. But now apparently everybody that plays a fucking Batman role has to pretend to be a fucking idiot. Have you live in Hollywood? You see crazy people on the fucking sidewalk constantly. You know, they don't act like that. They don't act like fucking retards. It's pretty hilarious how stupid the Joker's eyes were at the end. Oh, and also, okay, so this is they catch the Joker, or not the Joker, they catch the Riddler at the end. My bad, the Riddler's eyes were all goofy at the end because they catch him. Spoiler alert, fuck it. You know they're gonna catch him. I'll tell you how they catch him. Spoiler alert. He like wants himself to be caught, I guess. And he's in the cafe. They're like, oh, he ran down the fire escape and he ran into this cafe. We need to go catch him, right? So he's alone in this cafe. Just the Riddler. And then the cops come in and they arrest him. And he's all like laughing and saying some stupid shit, I think. And then they pan down onto the cup of coffee. And the motherfucker has a question mark written in the foam of the coffee. Like, who did that? Did the Riddler do that? Did the cafe people do that? I guess he asked them for a question mark. I don't know. Oh, actually, no. Actually, you know what? Oh, shit. Know what it was? Oh, damn. Okay. Know what I think it was? Actually, so he was right next to that cafe the whole time. He was living in that apartment. And also next to the Penguins Criminal Club with the Falcons or whatever. So I guess he was a regular at that cafe. And he's been such a regular there. That's like how comfortable he is to being around the whole thing that they, I guess, gave him that coffee stuff or whatever because he was like a regular. I guess maybe that was the implication. Maybe that was the subtext. Things I liked about the movie. They didn't tell you a lot of shit. You know? A lot of shit was left up to context clues. Like, I'm glad that they didn't have a scene. They had some scenes, you know, that were very obvious to explain what drops were. That's like their drug in this movie, their fictional drug. It's called drops. And they call them drop heads, people that use them. And they never had that corny scene where it's like, oh, when drops came through the city, it ruined this whole place or whatever. It just was very self-evident. You know, there was certain scenes where corrupt people were using drops, or, you know, they go into a abandoned building and it's like, oh, drop heads, and so, you know, shit like that, which I like. You know, I like the whole show don't tell. And there's a lot of that in the movie. What was, I guess, maybe revealing to me was I thought that Catwoman was a lesbian in this. And maybe she was bi, I don't know. And I was like, oh yeah, of course they're gonna have to push the woke agenda and make Catwoman a lesbian when everybody knows her and Batman be getting it on in them latex outfits, real kinky BDSM style shit. And then she like kisses Batman, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, okay. And maybe the audience was supposed to have that same. They're like, hey, where is this going? Hey, I thought that she was an old pussy licker over here, but actually, you know, she wants some with a bat dick. And so, but then I guess like they never said that she was a lesbian, you know? She just had a roommate that was a girl. And it was just, I guess maybe it was my own ignorance. It was some Mr. Roper shit on my part. I'm like, oh my God, there are lesbians in there. They're eating box in there. Oh, knocking on the door. What are you doing in there? I'm hearing noises. But it turns out, I guess, you know, maybe she wasn't. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff about that. There was a lot of good twists and turns, and like, obviously I'm already getting into spoilers. I liked when they revealed that Falcone was whatever Batgirl's, or not Batgirl, what, Catwoman's, whatever. I don't know. There was a lot of goofy shit though too. It was just, oh yeah, my chick made the greatest point, which, you know, I guess everybody always makes, which is like, okay, here's another thing. Yeah, why don't you shoot Batman in the face? Which is fine, you know, suspend disbelief enough. But then there's this scene where Batman goes to disarm a bomb, which also, you would think, why wouldn't Batman just send his own robot in there to disarm the bomb? You know, Batman's got to have some kind of bomb disarming robot, but whatever. This is 2 years into his thing. Maybe he built one after that. He's like, man, I need to get one of these bomb disarming robots because I just got blown the fuck up. Because he gets blown up by, dude, this movie has no idea how bombs work. Because Batman is literally like point blank range away from a fucking bomb, and the fire hits his face. He like falls back. There's no bruises on him. They're like, I don't even think there's a cut on his lip or anything like that. Like, bruises do not exist in Gotham City. Or no, my bad. Because then Alfred gets hit by a bomb, and he gets a couple fucking like scrapes on the top of his head. Like he fucking, you know, like got hit by a branch or some shit, and it gave him some scabs on the top of his head, like about his eyebrows. It was bullshit. So that's how you know it's like, man, this is obviously made for kids because the violence is, I mean, non-existing, which is fine. Like, I don't give a shit. You can whatever, you know. I thought it was pretty. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It was entertaining. I sat back, I watched it. There's a lot of goofy shit though. And I'm just like, why? Why did it have to be so goofy? And if they're gonna if they had the goofy shit in it, then why didn't I just go full goofy? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. But that's what I watched recently, the Batman. And last thing I want to talk about, and I'm gonna cut this one short. And I promise to myself, this ain't to you, because I know you guys don't care. Y'all doing your own thing. You tune in because you wanna see. I don't know why you tune in, but I appreciate it. I'm glad you tune in. Next week will be better, trust me. Yeah, off topic. I want to talk about this one. Andy Dick. Oh my God. So I don't know, the past couple of years, I've been watching this thing called IP2, and I'm not going to get into the whole backstory of it, but long story short, there's this YouTuber named Ice Poseidon who did video game streams at one point, and then he started to do what they call IRL streaming, which is where you take a cell phone, usually on a selfie stick, and you go out and you fuck around in real life pretty much, and you harass people or get drunk a lot and whatever. It's kind of like Tom Green if Tom Green wasn't funny, and then that's just kind of what they do all the time. And a lot of times there's like a speaker, and people that are watching can send in money to have the speaker say things to the streamers and to the people around the streamers. A lot of times, as you can imagine, not the nicest things are said: racist things, sexist things, homophobic things, all kinds of things. And like I said, it's there's a whole lot of degenerate people that have decided to do that. And once in a while, I tune in. A lot of times I'll just, hear about the highlights and I go check that out. Well, Andy Dick, the comedian of note that we all know and love if you grew up in the 90s, or don't know and love, but ever since I saw him in the Army now, I've always had a soft spot for Andy Dick. I don't know if it's just like teenage imprinting, like when a newborn duck sees the first thing and then that's its mom, maybe as a teenager that's just all of my heroes were created then. And I still like I said, Bam Margera in the last episode or the episode before that. I like Pauly Shore, and I like Andy Dick. It's people will point to his criminal record, but he served his time. I don't even know if that's true. He might not have ever served his time, but I like to say, like I said before, I could separate the art of Andy Dick from the artist and all the foibles that he's done. So recently, he's hooked up with these IP2 streamers, and they've all been doing this like RV trip. I don't know if they're going cross country or what the situation is, but there's like two dueling RVs. And one of the RVs had Andy Dick with him. Well, dude, Andy Dick's been getting passed around these IP2 streamers like... some people have been calling it like a pet, which is a really good analogy for it. Like I don't know how to describe it, but they've been passing him around. Apparently, Andy Dick got picked up by some IP2 streamer that's kind of like held him hostage and wouldn't let him leave. Then some other IP2 streamers came in to try to rescue him, but the guy pulled a gun out on him. So then they called the cops to get Andy Dick out of there. And so once they sprung Andy Dick, by the way, Andy Dick is in a conservatorship, a conservatorship. Something like that, conservatorship. Whatever Britney Spears had, that's what Andy Dick has. So I think he gets an allowance of some sort. And also hear that he has early onset dementia. But he doesn't let that get him down. He's out there partying, grabbing ass, making dreams come true every fucking day. So some people rescue him, and, Andy Dick is found on the side of the road getting hassled by the cops, by these streamers later on, and so they kind of bring him into the RV, and then he's on the RV doing cocaine and drinking and doing all the things that Andy Dick is wont to do. We all know what Andy Dick does, and he is doing it for everybody's amusement, live streamed 24. Well, at a point it was like 24/7. I don't know what the situation is now. So during the course of this, one of the streamers decides to get drunk with Andy Dick, do coke with Andy Dick, and get into bed with Andy Dick and sleep with him. This is off camera, but then the next day that guy goes into to one of the other streamers and tells him that Andy Dick stuck his fingers in his butthole, and that and he's claiming that he's been raped. And I'm not the kind of guy that says, he was asking for it or anything like that, ever. But I think there should be some kind of Andy Dick law. You know what I mean? Where it's like I said, I give Andy Dick a pass. I find him entertaining sometimes by the way he puts things. He's funny. I like to watch his train wreck. I would never want to meet Andy Dick or hang out with Andy Dick ever. If I went to a party and someone said Andy Dick's coming, I'd leave. If I was going to a party and somebody said Andy Dick's there, I would not show up. I don't need that because I know what he does, and people should know what the fuck he does. So And honestly, I don't even think that Andy Dick did that to that dude. And if he did, it was like, here's my thing. At this point, Andy Dick has not been sober for months at a time. If anything, they date raped Andy Dick, and they've been date raping him for a fucking month. Okay, and I'm sure that the cops felt the same way because Andy Dick got let out like the next day. And because Andy Dick is a fucking American treasure, he did not let anything get him down about that situation. And he goes and pops up on another RV. So right now he's currently in another dude's RV named Chicken Andy. You can look that up on YouTube. Look at Chicken Andy, and they've been streaming like the past 2 days, and I've been tuning in. It's so fucking funny. It's so good. There's some great Andy Dick clips. So when that so the guy that was accusing Andy Dick of sexually assaulting him, his name is JJ, and he goes up to Andy Dick afterwards after he makes the accusation and starts pressing him, confronting the dude about the whole situation. And Andy Dick's only concern is where his cocaine's at. It's so funny. He's like, "Did you take my cocaine?" And the guy's like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "Did you? Did you? Come on. Did you take my cocaine?" And the guy's like, why'd you do that shit to me, Andy? And he's like, "Just get out of here. The cops are coming. Just wait for the cops outside. But if you have my cocaine, it would be really cool if we could just do it before the cops came." I mean, how can you hate a person that says something like that in the face of somebody recording them, accusing them of sexual assault? I don't know. It's like I said, I can separate the art from the artist there. If he did commit a crime, I hope that he faces justice, and I hope they throw the book at Andy Dick. But if he didn't commit a crime, then I hope that Andy Dick is given a medal, the biggest medal that they give to heroes, some kind of Nobel Peace Prize, something, I don't know. Because like I said, does not let anything get him down. No matter what, Andy Dick is going to be out there tomorrow with a cup full of something high proof, some fucking white shit in his nose, and a fucking song in his heart, and hopefully some ass in his hand, if the day's going the way it's supposed to be going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Alonzo Cantu. That was Bad First Impressions, and I will hopefully see you soon.